Okay, it's time for some more, scary stories. You guys ready?
Oh, yeah, Roy is always ready for scary stories. Roy doesn't get scared of anything.
Roy, why are you referring to yourself in third person?
Roy is trying something out. Roy wants to expand his horizons, try something new.
Are you still, suffering from your breakdown from Julius Caesar?
Roy doesn't want to talk about Julius Caesar.
Okay, well, today it's just me, Tiffany, hi, Ern,
Hey guys.
and Roy.
Roy says hello.
Sure, and we are going to get into these scary stories.
All right, I'm excited.
Roy is also excited.
Hello, children, and welcome back to the afternoon activity hour. Today, we will continue to read some stories from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark by Alvin Schwartz. We will be reading these stories with permission of HarperCollins Publishing. Our first story is The Girl Who Stood on a Grave. Some boys and girls were at a party one night. There was a graveyard down the street, and they were talking about how scary it was.
Don't ever stand on a grave after dark,
one of the boys said.
The person inside will grab you. He'll pull you under.
That's not true, one of the girls said. It's just a superstition.
I'll give you $1 if you stand on a grave,
said the boy. A grave doesn't scare me, said the girl. I'll do it right now. The boy handed her his knife.
Stick this knife in one of the graves,
he said.
Then we'll know you were there.
The graveyard was filled with shadows and was as quiet as death. There is nothing to be scared of, the girl told herself. But she was scared anyway. She picked out a grave and stood on it. Then, quickly, she bent over and plunged the knife into the soil, and she started to leave. But she couldn't get away. Something was holding her back. She tried a second time to leave, but she couldn't move. She was filled with terror. Something has got me, she screamed, and she fell to the ground. When she didn't come back, the others went to look for her. They found her body sprawled across the grave. Without realizing it, she had plunged the knife through her skirt and had pinned it to the ground. It was only the knife that held her. She had died of fright.
Aw, that's so sad.
Yeah, it wasn't a scary monster or anything. It was just she pinned her skirt to the ground. That's crazy.
Roy was not frightened by that story at all.
Well, I mean, it was a little bit scary, but there wasn't really any kind of monster like Tiffany said.
Yeah. Well, do you guys think we should go to the next one?
Yeah, Roy wants to hear the next story. Miss Linda, read Roy the next story.
Roy, you don't control the flow of this afternoon activity hour.
Okay.
The Babysitter. It was 9 o'clock in the evening. Everybody was sitting on the couch in front of the TV. There were Richard, Brian, Jenny, and Doreen, the babysitter. The telephone rang. "Maybe it's your mother," said Doreen. She picked up the phone. Before she could say a word, a man laughed hysterically and hung up. "Who was it?" asked Richard. "Some nut," said Doreen. "What did I miss?" At 9:30, the telephone rang again. Doreen answered it. It was the man who had called before. "I'll be there soon," he said, and he laughed and hung up. "Who was it?" the children asked. "Some crazy person," she said. About 10 o'clock, the telephone rang again. Jenny got to it first. "Hello?" she said. It was the same man. "One more hour," he said, and he laughed and hung up. "He said 1 more hour. What did he mean?" asked Jenny. "Don't worry," said Doreen. "It's somebody fooling around." "I'm scared," said Jenny. About 10:30, the telephone rang once more. When Doreen picked it up, the man said, "Pretty soon now," and he laughed. "Why are you doing this?" Doreen screamed, and he hung up. "Was it that guy again?" asked Brian. "Yes," said Doreen. "I'm going to call the operator and complain." The operator told her to call back if it happened again, and she would try to trace the call. At 11 o'clock, the telephone rang again. Doreen answered it. "Very soon now," the man said, and he laughed and hung up. Doreen called the operator. Almost at once, she called back. "The person is calling from a telephone upstairs," she said. "You'd better leave. I'll get the police." Just then, a door upstairs opened. A man they had never seen before started down the stairs toward them. As they ran from the house, he was smiling in a very strange way. A few minutes later, the police found him there and arrested him.
Okay, so, this was, totes creepy, but I'm, a little confused about something.
What are you confused about, Tiffany?
What's an operator?
Roy thinks that maybe a long time ago when they had, what's the phones that aren't cell phones?
Landlines?
Yeah, landlines. There was this person on the other side of the phone, you could call and they could put in a number for you or something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of what an operator is.
Oh. That's so, weird.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago, Tiffany.
Yeah, but, it's not something that we have now, right? There's no operator for my cell phone, correct?
Maybe. Maybe we should just go on to the next story. Miss Linda, what's the next story?
Well, Ern, the next story is not a story at all.
What? What do you mean it's not a story at all? Roy came here to hear some stories, not some rando words that are coming from pages or anything like that. Roy wants a story.
Roy needs to calm down. The next bit of work from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is actually a poem.
Oh, I like poems. I like to read lots of poems.
Yeah, I like poems too.
Roy doesn't care that much for poetry.
We know, Roy. We know. A man who lived in Leeds. There was a man who lived in Leeds. He filled his garden full of seeds. And when the seeds began to grow, it was like a garden filled with snow. But when the snow began to melt, it was like a ship without a belt. And when the ship began to sail, it was like a bird without a tail. And when the bird began to fly, it was like an eagle in the sky. And when the sky began to roar, it was like a lion at my door. And when the door began to crack, it was like a penknife in my back. And when my back began to bleed, I was dead, dead, dead indeed. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, what was that thing?
Roy doesn't know. Roy does not know, nor does Roy care. Roy only wants to get out of here.
I think I'm gonna leave too, guys. I'm gonna see you guys later, okay?
Wait, don't leave me behind. I gotta get out of here.
Hey, wait for me.
Thus ends our tales of the scary stories to tell in the dark. Happy Halloween, children.